Yo, what's up, guys? Daniel's here. So, the live stream is about to be about the Weather Channel. It's gonna be about the Weather Channel and the severe weather threat. Enjoy.
Meteorologist Alex Wilson here in Louisville, Kentucky, where the rain has picked up in intensity. National Weather Service now especially concerned about the threat for flash flooding. We're here watching the obvious river flooding that has been ongoing, but flash flooding a big concern. Rainfall rates between 2 and 4 inches possible, and it would only take about an inch of rain in 3 hours to lead to flash flooding. So the National Weather Service, they are extremely concerned about the ongoing threat of flash flooding here in Jefferson County as we go through the next few hours. Severe weather also a big concern. Here we've got a Torcon of 3, but areas to the west, a better opportunity for seeing some of those strong storms, even tornadoes. And we have several active tornado warnings. Team coverage continues here of the flooding and the severe. Mike Bettis joins us from the lab. Mike, you've got this, the look at the radar, and we have several active warnings.
Yeah, we actually have 3 tornado warnings. They're really all stacked together in northeast Arkansas tonight, and a couple of spin-ups within that squall line here that can produce some real significant damage. So I want you to be safe tonight. I'm going to show it to you on the radar. It's a line of storms from Cape Girardeau to Poplar Bluff down toward Jonesboro, Arkansas tonight. This is the line where all the tornadoes could be hidden, in essence, within this squall line. They'd be very difficult to spot. You can see where those tornado warnings are right now, including Clay, Dunklin, and Greene County here. Extreme northeast Arkansas right now. That warning goes until 6 o'clock tonight. The middle warning, if you will, this is just north of Jonesboro. Okay, I'll move the radar just slightly so it'll pick up that warning. Craighead, Greene, also Lawrence County under a tornado warning until 6 o'clock tonight. And then a little bit farther to the south than yet, we'll end up having another warning just out to the south of Jonesboro. So what we're getting here is within this pattern, this squall line, we're getting these little kinks, little bows, if you will, where we get little spins here, getting potentially a little spin here and one here. What's happening is, and the radar is down to the lower right-hand side of your screen, these little punches of wind come in like this, okay? And as they do, on the north side of those punches is where you end up potentially getting spins in the atmosphere. And a lot of times it'll be very quick tornadoes. They'll last for literally seconds. Spin down. If there's something in their way, they're going to hit it, potentially damage it, and then move on. So this is where we've got a lot of kinks in that squall line, okay? But then notice straight line winds from Winnie down toward Goodwin here, and that line may come closer to Memphis. But will this pattern of these little squalls with embedded spins begin to extend its way farther south? It's a possibility as we go through the evening. So something, of course, we'll end up following for you here as we go through the night. But several tornado warnings in effect at this hour. The other big issue, and unfortunately happening simultaneously, Alex, is severe weather and flooding. The images behind you, I mean, really jaw-dropping, unfortunately. All right, let's get back to Alex and out there in Louisville. Alex.
All right, yeah, Mike, no, yeah, absolutely. You know, some of the rainfall rates that we've seen have been especially heavy, and now we're adding more rainfall. So, unfortunately, we are almost adding insult to injury for people living in these homes. You know, they come to the edge of the water and ask, how much more is this going to rise? We're expecting about 3 more feet of rise at both the locations here in Louisville of the Ohio River, and that crest will be coming on Monday evening. So the rivers will be rising, but also the flash flood threat is something that we are watching especially close now over the next few hours. Mike has been showing you the radar and what the radars looked like, but of course that heavy rain now is headed towards the Louisville area, so we're going to see some heavy downpours, and with an already saturated ground, that could lead to some of those flash flooding. It would only take about an inch of rain in 3 hours to lead to flash flooding problems, so that's a big concern for the National Weather Service moving forward. Severe also an issue. Dr. Greg Forbes has given Louisville a Torcon of 3, a 30% chance of a tornado within 50 miles. Our best chance time time frame for severe would be the later evening hours. Rain eventually tapers off, though, during the early morning hours of our Sunday. But we have talked to people who live here in this community. This community is just to the northeast of downtown. They're not really a stranger to flooding, and unfortunately, it's something that they've had to deal with. Lisa, one of the homeowners we talked to, had this to say.
About every 20 years you get a big flood, and I'm done. I am done. At my age, I do not want to do this anymore.
Yeah, 1997 has been the benchmark that we've heard from a lot of people saying, well, this isn't quite as high as 97, but in some spots it is getting close. This is not the only area, though, where flooding is an ongoing issue. Louisville not isolated. We've seen problems across parts of the Mid-South as well. Our Justin Michaels has been monitoring this situation in Jacksonville, Arkansas.
Jacksonville, Arkansas has certainly been under the gun for the last several days because of some intense rains, now flooding, and then yet this afternoon, Saturday afternoon, we've had an intense line of rainstorms go through, thunder showers that have dumped almost a half inch of rain in about a 15-minute period. Incredible rain that's come through, and it's still raining right now. And what it's doing is, folks, it's really compounding a real big problem here in Jacksonville and really all of central Arkansas. You can see how saturated this ground is. Look at the puddling, look at the ponding, look where the trees are. This is just a regular yard of grass, but there is no place for this rain to go. This water is completely saturating the soil. So the concern is, as these really intense winds come through with some of the thunder showers we've had, could they be knocking some of the trees over because the ground is so saturated it's just mud at this point. We haven't had reports of that happening here in Jacksonville, but certainly a concern. The good news is, as the storms went through this afternoon, no calls into the fire department or to EMS here in Jacksonville, so that is some good news, but the flooding problems still persist, and they're going to persist over the next few days, even though the sun will come out tomorrow and probably Monday. Coming up on Tuesday and Wednesday, another round of intense rains here in the greater Little Rock, Arkansas area that could bring as much as 4 inches of additional rain to already, as you can see, saturated soil. So these people right here in central Arkansas, they call it the natural state. Well, it certainly is natural around here right now to get a lot of rain, and they still have a long way to go. In Jacksonville, Arkansas, Justin Michaels, The Weather Channel.
Yeah, Justin, thank you for the report. You know, we talk to people here as well, and they say it's something that we deal with and we know we will have to deal with when we choose to live along the river, but it doesn't make it any more fun, nevertheless. The one good saving grace here in this community is the great forecasting. They said we knew this was coming. This did not catch us by surprise, so we were able to be proactive, move things out of our homes. In fact, many of the people that we've talked to have said they actually moved things out, whether they rented one of the storage pods and had that moved, or just hired movers to move their belongings elsewhere. Someone else we talked to a few neighborhoods away, or a few streets over, I should say, their mother is in their 90s and is wondering if that's the last time she's going to go into the house because she's concerned about how high the water could get. So, you know, these are communities, these are people that understand this is a risk, but still never fun to be dealing with it, never something they want for that life along the river. Nick, you know, lots of communities, though, are watching for the flooding to continue as we go through the next few days.
Yeah, some really heart-wrenching stories there, Alex. And we're watching the rain come down where you are right now. Let's look at it on the radar. It is really getting heavy right over Louisville right now. And you're under that flash flood warning until about 9:45 this evening. Here's the future radar showing you what to anticipate in the coming hours. Look at this. We continue to see rain pouring over you through the 10 o'clock hour, through the midnight hour, and on into the wee hours of the morning before it finally moves out, and then you're going to be waking up to some drier conditions. Cincinnati, a similar scenario shaping up here as more heavy rain moves through your area here. You're going to get a little bit less coming up as we're going to get a little bit of a respite here, about 0.2 of an inch thus far, but more coming into play here before morning. Look at the timing here, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, then it really comes in strong there right around midnight, and even a few more showers during the nighttime hours hours before you wake up. So Cincinnati, we're looking at more of that wet weather coming your way. Right along the Ohio River in Cincinnati and in Louisville, where Alex is, we'll continue to see big time problems there. And we'll show you where you're going to continue to see rivers rising. Moderate flood stage right there along the Ohio River, but still some areas experiencing major flood stage in northern Indiana and into Michigan. We'll show you some of those problem areas coming up. Keep it right here for our special coverage and our team coverage tonight here on the Weather Channel.
Whoever just subscribed, thank you.
Alex Wilson. We are live in Louisville, Kentucky, where the rain continues to fall. It's been picking up, and the water behind us from the Ohio River has been creeping up as well as we've been here throughout the afternoon and now into the evening. Thunderstorms moving in. We've heard some rumbles of thunder, and with that threat of thunderstorms is going to come the threat of more heavy rain, and flash flooding will also be a danger. So we've got the river flooding as well as the danger for flash flooding in the coming hours. National Weather Service here very concerned about that possibility. But we do have active tornado warnings off to our west. I want to send it into Mike. Mike, you're looking at some of these on the radar. You know, this was a big threat day, one of the bigger threat days we've seen so far this year, and we are getting those warnings.
Yeah, now the big concern becomes, Alex, we're getting dark now, right? And so you won't have storm spotters out there that are chasing these storms, and a lot of them are really tough to see too because they're embedded within squall lines. They're rain wrapped, and it's just a tough go tonight. Let me show you what's happening currently. I'm going to show you what's happening on the radar right now. I'm going to show you Memphis forecast here in just a moment. There's a look at the line from Mount Vernon to Cape Girardeau, Poplar Bluff down towards Jonesboro. Intense amounts of rain, 1 to 2 inches per hour, and embedded within all that junk, if you will, right? Tornadoes. Boy, if that's not salt on the wounds, I don't know what is. In Butler County here in extreme southeastern Missouri, tornado warning for you here until 6 o'clock. And then just south of that, another possible bit of rotation for Clay and Dunklin County. That's in extreme northeastern Arkansas. That's until 6 o'clock. So in Campbell and in Freeburg and in Piggott here, these are locations where we have the possibility of tornadoes. Not to mention, coming through Jonesboro, maybe just out east of Jonesboro, in Craighead and Poinsett County, severe thunderstorm warning here where 60-plus mile-per-hour winds are going to be a factor for us. Boy, this is an ugly, ugly squall line here. Where's the tornado, right? Boy, tough to pick out. We've got a couple of kinks in that radar, and so you've got a little bit of low-level wind that's punching in, and then generally on the north side of that punch is where you end up getting some spins. There it is right there, just past McDougal. Tiny little speck of rotation there near McDougal that may slide near Piggott or maybe just to the north of Piggott here, but this is what happens in a lot of these spin-ups that happen in squall lines. They'll happen for seconds, and then they'll dissipate. But if you happen to have something in the path of that tornado at that moment it touches down, then you have issues. So there's the kinked pattern between, say, Cape Girardeau and Jonesboro. Then once you get south of Jonesboro, notice how it just kind of becomes a straight line here with intense straight line winds to the south of that. Could we see that pattern, that kinked pattern, extend farther south? It's possible, but notice that line coming through Jonesboro and Goodwin right now, Poplar Bluff, and then we're going to see that storm line head toward Memphis. That'll happen probably in the next, say, hour or so. But it's an ugly pattern tonight, Alex, and we know that all these places getting severe weather tonight are also having to deal with flooding. It's just a really, really tough forecast to have to deal with.
Right, we've ongoing flooding. It's saturated. River flooding continues to be an issue, but flash flooding also a big danger now. And Nick, I'm learning that we're actually seeing water rescues or hearing about water rescues taking place in Missouri.
The southern part of Missouri really being hit with rain right now, Alex, and it's a dangerous area. Do not get out and travel around the Poplar Bluff area. Look at this radar. Just the thunderstorms firing up here. And going a little bit closer here, showing you Poplar Bluff, where we've had just tons of rainfall coming through, and flash flood warning here from Butler, Stoddard, and Wayne counties. The fire department has been conducting water rescues and evacuations in this area, and there are numerous reports of roads that are underwater. That's not my words, those are their words. Numerous roads underwater now, not just covered, but also some roads being washed out now. Some reports coming in here, water over roadway on County Road 569 there in Rombauer. In Poplar Bluff, Roxy Road near Maud Street is impassable due to the flooding problems there. So again, avoid any water-covered roadway, and if you do come upon them, turn around and find another way. Turn around, don't drown. That's the way people get into big trouble here in a flooding situation. Then we've got the river flooding ongoing here. 258 river gauges here from the way northward to the Great Lakes that are in some sort of flood stage. Many of those here around the Midwest, and many of those around the Ohio River in moderate flood stage as well, including here in Paducah, Kentucky, where the latest observation here of the Ohio River is 46.13 feet. The forecast crest is still going to be in moderate flood stage, about 49 feet. That's what we can anticipate here, but look how long it's going to take. That's coming up later on in the week, and until then, we still could get more rainfall on the way. So we've got a lot of things to deal with here for the coming days. Certainly a lot to deal with tonight with severe weather, that river flooding, and the ongoing flash flooding threat too. Keep it right here as our special coverage continues here on the Weather Channel.
I'm gonna give you a little update. So, what's basically happening in the Midwest and Southeast is, look at all these warnings. Look, tornado watches, severe thunderstorm warnings, flood, a whole bunch of flood warnings, whole bunch of flood watches, whole bunch of river flood warnings. And as you can see, for the upper Midwest, which is, they're not showing this, but there's a lot of winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories too. And even with the weather advisories into Northeast, look, even almost into, I don't know if Boston's in it or Boston just south of it, I don't know, but around the Boston area, there's winter weather advisories, I believe for freezing rain. And you can see, look at all these alerts. Now, what I want to show you also are some of the rainfall that we got, that we're getting in this area. Okay, so just gonna go into this app, go into radar. Here's my area right now. Nothing to be concerned of, really here. But as you can see, look at this. Big line of thunderstorms. Look, a whole bunch of storm reports, whole bunch of even tornado reports, hail reports. Look at this. There's so many storm reports that it's slowing down my phone. Okay, I think I need to take out the storm cells because if I leave this on, it's gonna freeze the app. It's gonna crash the app. So I'm just gonna go to the past 24 hours rainfall and just, you're gonna be shocked. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. This. And I'm pretty sure this is what the app is saying, but I'm pretty sure that there was way more rainfall. That there's way more rainfall than this. I bet some areas might have half a foot already. That's just my theory. I think there's so much rainfall that the app can't even pick up all the rain. But when you go into our future 48-hour precipitation, we will see that. Not that much rainfall. Yeah, maybe another 1 to 2, 2 to 3, maybe isolated spot. And then my area around 1 to 2. So that's what I just want to show ya. So I believe the stream's about to be back in a minute. So here's the stream again. Hold on. Let me pull it up. And the reason I'm streaming this is for a lot of people, millions of people.
Quite flooded back there. The scary thing is, back that direction are about 300 homes, and those people, Mike Bettis, it's really difficult to get to them. They only have a really kind of a dirt path going through, but there is some light at the end of this very dark, long, flooded tunnel, Mike. If I look off to the west, I see clearing skies, a welcome sign to so many.
Oh, and tomorrow's going to be a totally different day for a lot of these places. Even though the water may continue to rise, at least it'll stop raining. Thank you very much for that, Justin. One update on the severe weather threat that comes along with the flooding, because severe thunderstorms and tornadoes likely tonight in some of these areas that are highlighted for you in red that we have on the map for you, including Paducah, Kentucky, Jonesboro, Arkansas, Memphis, and Jackson, Tennessee tonight. This tornado watch highlighted in red
Hold on.
goes until 9 o'clock Central Time. Really what this is indicating to you is the atmosphere is primed for severe weather. It could happen through the evening. It may not be happening at that moment, but it could happen through the evening. And notice we also have tornado watch extends back through the Arklatex as well until 7 o'clock Central Time. So that goes for about another hour or so, okay? But some of that has been chipped away, including Little Rock. We're no longer included in that. The storms right now, Paducah all the way down towards Shreveport tonight. A couple of tornado warnings to update you on.
Just need to reload the stream. Hold up. No, I hit the ad.
Now, there's no couplet that we can detect. We've got bright green and bright red right next to each other. This is just a really messy squall line right now. I have just brief spin-ups that happens within it, but there's that really strong squall line right now. Exiting Jonesboro, but getting closer and closer to Memphis in the next hour or so. It's likely to be there in Memphis. We're going to follow this severe weather threat for you very closely through the night, but the other story that we're following, it's snow and Winter Storm Polly bringing a ton of it to places like Sioux Falls, South Dakota. St. Paul, Minnesota is a live look, and you can barely see it. It's snowing so hard. Janelle Klein live for us tonight in the Twin Cities. Janelle, good evening to you. It's coming down, huh?
It is really coming down, Mike. It's so amazing to be out here in downtown Minneapolis on Nicollet Mall and see basically no one. This is such a busy, bustling street normally, always full of people downtown walking these streets, especially Nicollet Mall, and it is absolutely empty tonight, but probably good news for the Minnesota State Patrol and MnDOT, which are both asking people to stay home unless they need to be out. They know travel is difficult, and here's one reason why. This snow is wet, it's heavy, and it's really causing problems for people out on the roads. MnDOT saying it has 750 plows out statewide, and it's probably going to need them. I want you to look down here and see some of these areas that have not been plowed or shoveled today. We've probably got 3 to 4 inches already. A total tonight, 3 to 7 for most parts of Minnesota, also into western Wisconsin. And that's going to mean a lot of people struggling to be safe on the road. Speed's a concern, as well as people needing to give room for the plows. Now, tonight, downtown Minneapolis Orchestra Hall is hosting a concert. We talked to the staff here. They're saying they want people to still come. They're having the show. But again, Mike, driving tough, and they're asking people who are coming to be careful and use a lot of caution.
Yeah, as they should. It's going to be a real tough night there for sure. Janelle, thank you very much for the report. I want you to stick around. We've got more special coverage when we come back, tracking a dangerous, severe weather threat and flood threat. We're back after this.
Meteorologist Alex Wilson coming to you live from Louisville as we continue our live team coverage, Clash of the Seasons. We've got big problems. In fact, the biggest severe threat we've seen thus far this year, and we've already seen these active storms rolling through. We are continuing to monitor the radar. We are watching the flooding angle. We are watching the severe weather angle, and you just heard from Janelle Klein, if you were with us. We're watching a snowy angle from Winter Storm Polly as well. Again, I'm meteorologist Alex Wilson. I'm here in Louisville, where we're watching the Ohio River rise in some of these communities around downtown Louisville. But Mike, the big concern right now continues to be the severe threat, and we are watching active warnings move through parts of the country.
We do, and especially in northeast Arkansas tonight, Alex, is where we have probably the most life-threatening risk tonight. There's a look at the big picture with all the storms lining up from, say, Paducah, Kentucky, all the way down to Shreveport, Louisiana. So we're going to really focus in and narrow our focus on a few locations, including Clay, Dunklin, and Pemiscot counties here. This extends now over into Missouri as well. So Cotton Hill, Malden, and Piggott, those are the towns where you need to be taking shelter as soon as you possibly can. In fact, our previous warnings have been allowed to expire. But that's a really messy storm line there, isn't it? And when you take out all the rain and you focus in on just the wind, look at the kinks that we're getting in that line now. And so underneath that rain, you can now start to pick out some more detail with these storms. But it is still hard to pick out exactly where the rotations may be. A lot of times in these squall lines, you have very brief touchdowns, and then they'll lift just as quickly as they came down. Maybe looking at a little bit of weak rotation just to the east of Piggott right now, and that may slide just south of Freeborn. But please take these storms seriously. If they're not producing tornadoes, they're likely going to be producing some really significant straight line winds. Look at the real punch here with this bow that's within that storm line, right? What that means is really strong winds are punching in this way. This is a really strong 60+ mile an hour front here, and maybe a little bit of spin between Cardwell and Clay. So if you live in Clay, what I'd be doing right now is getting to the lowest level of your home, get under a hard, sturdy piece of furniture, protect your head. If you have a basement, it's a great place to be. Also noticing we might have some weak rotation around Dyess tonight, and that could be coming right near you. So if you live there, also lowest level of your home, interior room, stay away from windows. Windows, the last thing you need to be doing is looking out those windows. Strong line here between Jonesboro and Dyersburg with a severe thunderstorm warning, and storms getting closer and closer to Memphis, Cross, Lee, and St. Francis County now in Arkansas. Severe thunderstorm warning for us here. Look at that intense squall line now coming through Goodwin and very close to getting to us in Memphis. Here's the timing for you in Memphis. We think between, an hour from now until about 10 o'clock tonight is when it could be the worst and very intense, Alex. But the problem is, in all these areas where we have severe weather, we've already had a ton of rain this week as the flooding concerns also ratchet up as these storms come through.
Yeah, here in Louisville, just over 4 days, 3 to 5 plus inches. So that has led to the flooding issues. The Ohio River rising behind me into some of these homes. They're no stranger to the flooding, and they said they were prepared. But, today they've been taking the precautions. Actually, earlier in the week, they moved things out. Today, crews have been out shutting off the gas and the power to many of these homes. And we've actually been watching that water rise bit by bit as we continue to get the rain. It has lightened up a bit from what we saw, say, maybe 15 minutes ago. But we continue to deal with the rain, and more is on the way this evening. Justin Michaels joins us from Arkansas, another state that's dealing with widespread flooding impacts and the severe weather.
Yeah, Alex, in fact, that severe weather that came through earlier tonight was quite intense, and what it did is leave a bunch of people in the dark tonight. More than 8,000 people right now in central Arkansas, basically around the greater Little Rock, Arkansas area, are without power. You can only imagine power crews are going to be working all night long into tomorrow to get all that turned back on. But certainly not a nice thing after all the severe weather they've had, all the rain they've had, inch after inch after inch, flooding things like the Biomeadow Creek. You can see basically water as far as you can see, and off in the distance there is a house. Luckily, it seems like this street does have power, and I see a light on in the window back at that house, so this section of town does have power, but still, about 300 people are, for all intents and purposes, cut off from the rest of the community here. In fact, there's just one very small little dirt road that leads into this subdivision of about 300 people. Not sure specifically where the power outages are. We're just getting told about 8,000 people without power here in central Arkansas. So again, more information coming in after those really intense storms went through. But a nice thing that's happening right now, kind of a silver lining to this entire day after day after day of rain and flooding, is for the first time in quite a while, though you can't see it, there is a bit of a sunset here, Nick Walker, which is something nice to see. But of course, Nick, I do know basically Sunday's going to be quite lovely. Monday should be quite lovely. But then Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday, the potential for 4 more inches of rain. Really not what they need with already saturated ground, Nick.
And that's going to keep the ground saturated, Justin. It's also going to keep the rivers running high, too. The rain has moved out of most of the western and central portions of southern Missouri right now, but we're continuing to see problems in that area. Let's take you into the areas that we're going to continue to see problems here this evening. We're going to watch Memphis. We're going to watch Jackson, even New Orleans, too. Watch this as the thunderstorms continue to come through this area. We're going to find more of that wet weather invading all of these areas. All right, let's talk about Ozark, Missouri. That's one of the areas that has seen a little bit of clearing throughout that region. That's about 30 minutes north of Branson, Missouri. Now, the Finley River, it's really just kind of a creek normally. It's flooded its banks. The city parks, the parking lots, backyards, they're all underwater as this creek has now swollen and will continue to be swollen for some time, even when skies clear. All right, let's head back to Alex Wilson. Skies have not cleared, nor will they very soon around the Louisville area, and that's just going to keep the Ohio River running high.
Yeah, the Ohio River continues to rise. In fact, not expected to reach its crest at both Louisville locations or gauges until later on Monday. So we'll be talking about 7 o'clock in the evening. Both are expected to crest at moderate flood stage. So we won't reach that major flood stage, but still within moderate flood stage, we have the impactful flooding that we are seeing here in this community. We're just to the northeast of downtown Louisville. Roads have been closed in the area. We saw crews out shutting off power, shutting off gas throughout the day. And residents, even early in the week, knowing the rain was coming, they got their stuff out of the houses in many cases. They actually said we used movers or a rental shed and put all of our belongings in there to keep them from getting destroyed by the floodwaters. Some of the homes do have water in the basement, others on the first floor. We talked to a man who has a home behind us where water is up to about his waist on the first floor of his home. Again, about 3 feet to go. More rain on the way as well. We'll continue to watch the radar, track those severe storms and the flooding risk as our team coverage continues.
you for staying with us here on the Weather Channel as we continue to track severe weather moving across the middle of the country. I'm Justin Michaels, live for you right now in Jacksonville, Arkansas, kind of in the central part of the natural state, or Arkansas. Natural state's their motto. And lots of people, lots of customers rather, don't have power right now. But the number has gone down significantly in the last 20 minutes or so. About 20 minutes ago, it was more than 8,000 people, customers, did not have power. Right now, about 6,500, a little more than 6,500 customers still don't have power. So the power companies here are working to get things turned back on. If you're listening to the Weather Channel, through the app, through the Local Now app, or whatever you're doing to watch us right now, if you don't have power, wait a little bit. Hopefully you'll have your power back in a little bit. Of course, we did have a very intense line of severe weather come through here. Thunder showers moving through here at a good clip at the Little Rock International Airport about 2 hours ago. They saw a wind. They clocked a wind there at about 45 miles per hour. So definitely intense winds. Now, the concern with the winds is the fact that the ground here is so saturated after day after day after day of intense rains. It has nothing left to saturate into, Mike. The ground is completely saturated, and Mike Bettis, the scary thing is they're going to have about 2 days off. They're going to shut the valve off. The rain's going to stop, and then Tuesday into Wednesday, maybe 4 inches of more rain.
Yeah, it seems like it is a never-ending saga for us right now. The other thing we're concerned about also is severe thunderstorms that come along with it and the possibility of tornadoes. We know we've had some destruction today caused by either straight-line winds or tornadoes in Kentucky and Tennessee, right on the state line there. There's a big squall line. It's impressive from near Cincinnati down through Paducah all the way to Shreveport for us tonight, and a couple of tornado warnings that we want to update you on, including extreme northeastern Arkansas and the Boot Heel of Missouri. Clay, Dunklin, Pemiscot counties are in a tornado warning until 6:45 this evening, so we've got a little bit more than another half hour to go here. Please take shelter right away. These tornadoes can be particularly dangerous because they may not be spotted by a storm spotter, only by radar, and they could be rain wrapped. Difficult to spot because they may last for just seconds and then dissipate. So these squall lines are going to really hide the tornadoes in essence. Our latest tornado warning for Lauderdale and Mississippi counties headed over across the river and into Tennessee, okay? So Ashport, Osceola, and Ripley, you need to be taking shelter right now. Our warning goes until 6:45. I'm going to take out the rain on the radar and show you just the winds within these storms, okay? Big kinks. Look at this big bow that's happening for us right here. And usually on the northern side of these bows, so we get this punch of wind that comes in like that, and then you end up getting these spin-ups on the northern side of those bows. That's what's happening right there near Osceola. So that could be a potential tornado right there headed toward Osceola. Please get to your safe spot in your home right now. Another kink farther north. There near Clay. Wind punches in on the backside here. Spin-ups can happen on the north side of that. And we may have broad rotation here just to the west of Braggadocio here. So again, take shelter quickly. Oh, I want to show you this. I'm going to zoom in on this. Boy, this just popped up very, very quickly on the radar. Could be looking at a spin-up of a tornado here near Holcomb and Gideon. That looks like a possible tornado right in there where you see the green and the red. They're getting observed tornado on that right now. Confirmed by radar, at least. So that's, of course, what we're seeing right there. Hadn't seen that in the previous scans. So again, these can happen very quickly, sometimes in between scans of the radar. There's the bigger picture with all the warnings that we have, including that latest tornado warning, but also severe thunderstorm warnings now near Goodwin, headed over toward Council, eventually toward Memphis, crossed Lee and St. Francis County, severe thunderstorm warnings for us. There's the higher resolution radar. And the thing that worries me about this a lot are the kinks that we get in the northern part of this. You might be looking at little line segments that are forming here, and that can become very, very dangerous. It's dark now. You won't be able to visually see these. Everything will be radar indicated, but there's a warning issued tonight. Be ready to take action at that moment. More on the severe weather and the flooding when the Weather Channel comes back.
guys, I'm gonna be making a video after the stream explaining what is the Greenland block and why is it important for the weather pattern and snowstorms, especially in the Northeast. So that will be coming soon, right after the stream. So the stream is probably gonna end at like 8, so in like 40 minutes. So yeah, alright.
Area under flood watches as well as flash flood warnings in the area. We have been seeing reports of high water across parts of Jefferson County, which is the home to Louisville, including some flooded ramps that get you on or off of Interstate 64. So be aware of that. You may be noticing high water in your evening commute. It is dark now, so as you travel out and about, be sure you are going slowly. And if you do encounter water, turn around, find a different route. Flash flooding, a huge concern now with that rain continuing to fall moderate to even heavy at times here, Mike. Severe will be an issue we think we'll get in on a little later this evening, but there's ongoing severe weather right now, and you're going to bring the very latest on that.
Yeah, we got a couple of tornado warnings of big concern for us right now, including a brand new one in New Madrid County here. This is in extreme southeastern Missouri here. Como, New Madrid, and Portageville. A tornado potentially coming for you. So 6:45, the expiration on this. Get to the safest location in your home right now. Lowest level, interior walls. Put as many walls between you and the danger as possible. Okay, so what that means is no windows, an interior room like a bathroom or a closet. Get down, get low, protect your head. Again, that warning goes until 6:45 this evening. It's this area right here. I know it might be hard to see. We got a lot of colors on the map tonight with a lot of different warnings out there for severe thunderstorms or for flooding, but just highlighted the red polygon there. Now farther south, this is near Brownsville, really between Blytheville and Millington. We've got Lauderdale and Mississippi County under a tornado warning right now from Arkansas over into Tennessee. And a place like Osceola, we think we got some danger here. And this is basically right on the Mississippi River. Notice the rotation right there near Osceola, and actually maybe even some rotation just north of Osceola as well. There could be potentially 2 tornadoes here. I'm going to back this up one frame so you can see how intense this was just a frame ago, and then now it is potentially damaging, so please take shelter right away. And look at this. This is the correlation coefficient. What this does, it shows you things other than raindrops that are lifted into the air. Something that's airborne right now. Something like debris. That's the signature of it right there. Everything else around it is more of a symmetrical red color. That right there indicates that we've got something in the air that's not rain or hail. So good indication. We've got debris flying in the air right now, usually because of a tornado. Then around New Madrid, boy, difficult to see what's going on the radar here. It's really the farther reaches of the radar. It's kind of muddled right now. I'll go backwards one frame, and you'll see right near Freeborn is where the signature was. That storm moving off to the east-northeast, so in Portageville or in New Madrid. Please take shelter right now. Severe thunderstorms coming toward Memphis, Crittenden, Shelby, and Tipton counties now under severe thunderstorm warning. Shelby County is Memphis, okay? So Memphis, here we go. Our warning goes until 7. I wouldn't be surprised if they extend that even a little bit longer until that storm clears us in Memphis, but anticipate winds that could be 60-plus miles per hour. You can see that intense squall line now getting closer and closer to us in Memphis. I'll zoom right down in so you can get a good idea of where it is currently. Earl, Wynn, Forest City, Hughes, these are all places about to get hit or are getting hit right now. And Memphis, we are next in line. All right, obviously we're going to tell you what happens with this storm as we go through the evening because, Nick, timing is everything here. Knowing when these storms are going to hit is so important tonight.
Yeah, let's do the timing on Memphis right now because the writing's on the wall. You're already under a flash flood warning. You're continuing to see that severe weather bear down upon you, the tornado warning off toward the north. This is what we anticipate in the coming hours as those storms move through here this evening. We're going to find probably 8, 9, 10 o'clock, still a lot of rainfall, still enough to cause some flash flooding. Make sure that folks are either staying home or inside a sturdy building here over the coming hours. It could be rugged out there. All the way into 11 p.m. we could see thunderstorms throughout the area before it begins to taper off, and we see some clearing there during the overnight hours. Farther toward the south, going to take longer for the storms to invade southern portions of Louisiana into the New Orleans area. More rain coming in during the overnight hours, but then the real burst of it comes during the afternoon and on into early Monday morning. So we'll continue to keep an eye on all of these areas for more flooding.
two big stories we continue to follow at this hour. I'm meteorologist Alex Wilson here in Louisville, Kentucky, where it's flooding, both river flooding and flash flooding that we are up against right now. We have been watching severe storms, though, throughout the day, and we are getting some new pictures coming into us here at the Weather Channel out of Dot, Kentucky. This very close to the Tennessee-Kentucky state line, and this was in the path of a tornado-warned storm, so possibly tornado damage here in the town of Dot, Kentucky. This obviously something that we will continue to monitor, but the severe threat not over by a long shot. Mike Bettis is in the studio tonight, and Mike, we have had a lot of warnings. Of course, we still have a tornado watch in play. This has been really one of the biggest severe days of the year so far for us.
Yeah, and we're hearing unconfirmed reports that there may be injuries or fatalities. We hope that is not the case this evening. We're going to confirm that for you this evening, but I want to update you on some of the new warnings that we do have. It does include a new tornado warning for Mississippi, New Madrid, and Stoddard counties now, southwest Missouri here. It's really where southwest Missouri and Kentucky and Arkansas all are. Okay, so that goes until 7 o'clock this evening. I want to show you the warnings just to the south of that. That also includes New Madrid County and getting closer and closer to Union City tonight. That's until 6:45, so another 15 minutes on that one. What I'm going to do is take out the rain and put on just the winds, if you will, okay? And what we're looking for is any indication of rotation here. I'm going to back this up one frame on the radar. So 4 minutes ago, okay? Little blip right there near New Madrid. I'm going to leave that spot on there and take you 4 minutes prior to that. Hardly detectable, maybe back in there, okay? But it shows you that between radar scans, you may or may not indicate where the tornado is. And then we go to current, boy, barely detectable, right? This is the risk we run, that a lot of these tornadoes may be very quick, even between radar scans, and muddled by the rain. They won't be able to be spotted with the naked eye, so storm spotters won't see these. It's dark now. And notice we also have another tornado warning farther south. Lauderdale and Mississippi counties are under tornado warnings. Arkansas over into Tennessee. It looks like that we've lost the rotation here. We've got some pretty strong winds here around Ashport and south of there. I'm going to do one more thing here as well. Back this up and show you there's some rotation, and you can see it right there near Osceola. Another spin up right there. Back it up even more. A little bit right in there, the prior scans. But the point here is everything is happening very, very quickly. Some of these tornadoes may be totally rain wrapped and not visible. And one thing we do is we take another scan on the radar, and we take out then the wind as well. So we're just showing you what's floating in the air. We call this correlation coefficient. And when we look for something other than red on the map, a lot of red on this map, right? I'm going to circle right here just to the north and west of Ashport, okay? That might be where we have something there that's flying in that's other than a raindrop. I'll back it up. Correlation coefficient picking up debris floating in the air right there. Back it up again. You can see right there near Osceola. Take it back one more frame. Back here near Kaiser, okay? So potentially, how long have we had a tornado here? Extending all the way up for about maybe 17 or 18 miles, the possibility we've had a tornado on the ground for that long. So again, please be cautious about what's going on with our storms this evening. A lot of swiftly moving line segments tonight within our squall line. Severe thunderstorm warning from Earl and Hughes in Arkansas over toward Memphis, but Shelby County right now, including Memphis, is under a severe thunderstorm warning. We are anticipating at least 60-mile-per-hour winds, and be advised, okay, we just showed you what's happening north of you. Spin-ups of tornadoes along a squall line. This is a squall line coming for us in Memphis. I wouldn't rule out the possibility of tornadoes spinning up on that. So if you're in the Memphis metro area, watch this squall line really closely. It's almost there. What it means is you may have only seconds to act before there's a tornado. Alex, a tough situation for us tonight. These are the really dangerous storms in squall lines. You can't see them, and now it's dark. Double whammy tonight.
Yeah, and you mentioned you have to be prepared to act fast because this could be coming up on you very, very quickly. So please, if you are in the path, if Mike mentioned you could see these storms, make sure, get to your spot now. Wait for the storms to ride out and then, go back out to the family room and watch more television. Here in the state of Kentucky, we've been dealing with the severe weather, but also, of course, the flooding. However, Kentucky, not alone, not the only one up against significant flooding late this week and through this weekend. We also are watching the state of Arkansas, and that's where we find our Justin Michaels, who has been monitoring the situation there with the rising waters.
You know what, Alex, with nightfall come all sorts of different dangers, especially when you're talking about weather. There you're talking about not being able to see a tornado. Here, we're dealing with flooding. I know you're dealing with it there as well. And, you know, when you come across a road like that, so I'm going to step out of the way, and you can look down this road. Yeah, you see some lights glaring on the road, but let's just say those street lights are out. There are thousands of people right now in central Arkansas without power. You could be driving along here and drive right in to flooded waters, okay? Very dangerous situation. The best thing you can do, and we're hearing this time and time again from first responders and emergency management officials, is to stay inside, especially at night, unless you have an emergency, because of how dangerous conditions can be, especially because of all the rain this part of the country has had, the flooding that now persists all over the place, and now we have power outages, folks. Very difficult situation. In fact, we caught up with the Pulaski County Emergency Office of Emergency Management manager tonight. His name's Andy. We talked with him live on the air earlier tonight right here on the Weather Channel about the dangers related to flooding. Listen to him right now.
We actually had this 2 or 3 years ago. We had quite a bit of flooding as well. Again, we have certain areas that are problem areas around the creeks and everything like you're seeing here. We are getting some waters arise in the east of where we are now in the eastern part of the county that is having to evacuate a few people out of their residence. So there's no real rushing water, no really true swift water rush right now. It's just mainly the flood waters rising.
And the concern is those flood waters will continue to rise, especially this week. Alex, we could be dealing with another 4 inches of rain come midweek here in central Arkansas. Alex, to you in Louisville.
Yeah, and even the concern here in the coming hours, we could be looking at 1 to 2 inches of rainfall, perhaps more in some of those stronger thunderstorms that would produce some heavier downpours. That's what we'll watch for as we finish off the evening. So between now and midnight, chance of showers, thunderstorms, and again, some of these could be on the strong side, especially late evening. Of course, that line that Mike Bettis has been tracking, eventually moving east and through Kentucky, and with it will come severe danger. We think damaging wind gusts would be the biggest severe threat, but the flash flooding threat is the most notable that the National Weather Service office here is highlighting, because in this area we've been so saturated. We've seen anywhere from 3 to 5+ inches just within the past 4 days, that it would only take an inch of rain over a period of 3 hours to see flash flooding. So already flash flooding has been noted across Jefferson County. That is, of course, the county that is home to the city of Louisville. We've heard of on and off ramps of I-64 taking on water, as well as other locations in the county. This is one of the locations that's taken on water, but this from the Ohio River, which would be about 2 blocks behind us. At this point, we've just got a light rain falling with a bit of fog coming off the river. So we've been watching it slowly creep up through the day. The one good thing is the neighbors here, they were able to be proactive. They knew the rain was coming. It was well forecast, and so they got their things out of their home. The services, gas service, power service, they were out today disconnecting those services from all of these homes that have been taking on water. You know, 1997 seems to be a year that keeps popping up and talking to the neighbors, and we talked to the woman who lives here who has been, watching just how high she thinks it's going to get in her house.
About every 20 years you get a big flood, and I'm done. I am done. At my age, I do not want to do this anymore.
Yeah, she said they are pumping water out of the basement already, and they continue, to watch and wait for it to rise. But they did not leave. They are staying on the first floor of their home because they do have pets that they didn't want to leave behind. So they've got a generator here outside that they've been running to keep the home up and running as best they can. But 1997, every 20 years, she says, they seem to have a big flood, and this could be the one for this community. I know a lot of people here are remarking that they are, something that they're up against when you live along the river. Severe threat continues next. have been enjoying some dry, beautiful spring weather. Parts of the Mid-South and the Ohio Valley have been socked in with clouds and rain. In fact, days of rain. Here in Louisville, Kentucky, where I am, over the past 4 days, anywhere from 3 to over 5 inches of rain has fallen, and that has left those rivers on the rise. The Ohio River here, 2 gauges in Louisville, both expected to crest at moderate stage later on Monday evening, about 3 feet higher than where they are now. We're in one of these neighborhoods that has been watching the Ohio River creep up, and in some cases into people's homes, into people's basements, and into people's backyards, and they just continue to watch as that water gets precariously close to their homes and their belongings. More rain on the way here in the Louisville area as we watch storms off to our west heading our way. Mike, we've already seen a few rounds of heavy rain, but there's still plenty of activity and action off to our west.
Yeah, tons of rain, and flooding is going to be an ongoing issue. Severe weather, an ongoing issue through the evening as well, with several severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings tonight. The big picture shows the really large squall line now from Ohio, extending all the way back through Arkansas and Texas. Here are your tornado warnings tonight, south of Cape Girardeau, and really between Cape Girardeau and Memphis tonight. Mississippi, New Madrid, and Stoddard counties in Missouri. We've got a tornado warning right now, extreme southeastern Missouri. Then into northeast Arkansas, headed over to Missouri. This is really where Missouri and Arkansas, Kentucky, and Tennessee all come together. Lilburn, New Madrid, Portageville, cities where you need to be taking shelter right now until 6:45. Your tornado warning. Then another tornado warning extending over into Tennessee for Dyer Lake and Obion counties. That goes until 7:15 tonight. Caruthersville, a place that could be on alert. Don't see a lot of rotation when we look at the storm relative velocities right now within this warned area. That's good news, but we're a good distance away from the radar, so they may be shooting way up into the sky and not exactly seeing what's going on down at the ground. Notice what's happening around Cloverdale right now, exiting Caruthersville. Really potent bow echo right here, and some really intense winds coming toward Cloverdale with the possibility of an embedded rotation there. So if there were a tornado, it'd be right here and coming right over Cloverdale. Take shelter right now in Cloverdale. Lowest level of your home. If you've got a basement, that's a great place for you to be. If you don't, an interior room in your house on the lowest level. So bathroom, a closet, something like that. Pretty intense storm coming toward Memphis as well, and Shelby County, we're under a severe thunderstorm warning. There's the squall line, just minutes away from hitting us in Memphis, anticipating winds that will gust over 60 miles per hour. Alex, obviously a lot of active weather for us tonight, unfortunately, and we're now getting reports of one casualty in southern Kentucky, in Logan County, because of possible tornado touchdown there, so potentially could end up being a fatal night of storms too.
Right. Unfortunately, that would end one of our longest streak of tornado death-free days. So still waiting to hear a confirmation on that. But that was a tornado-warned storm earlier there in the southern part of Kentucky in the town of Dot. Here in Louisville, we are bracing for the storms to come. But the biggest danger with these storms, of course, we'll watch for the damaging wind and the possibility of a tornado, but it's the rain that the National Weather Service Office and people here in the area are the most concerned about. As we continue to watch the waters rise, we've seen reports of flash flooding on some of those area roadways, and of course the Ohio River behind me reaching some of those homes. And Nick Walker in the studio to talk about what's to come with the flooding in the days to come.
And Alex, yeah, as you mentioned, we've got 2 kinds of flooding. Flash flooding ongoing from that heavy rainfall, as well as river flooding. Some of those rivers still on the rise and still have yet to crest. Let's take a look at this squall line once again, and notice all of the green outlines on the map. Those are flash flood warnings, and look how far they go. Over 49 million people are under some sort of flood alert this evening. And in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, earlier, the fire department were reporting that they were conducting water rescues and evacuation. Reports of roads not only covered, but also being washed out. That's one of the reports that we're getting now. Towers Road and Ripple Creek there in nearby Hendrickson, completely underwater with parts of the road washing out quickly. And in Poplar Bluff, Roxy Road near Maud Street impassable due to the flooding there. We're continuing to watch Paducah. Watch the radar here into the future as we begin to clear out, and the Ohio River probably not cresting here until we get into late Tuesday or Wednesday.
Alright guys, I just played for like about an hour and a half and end it. So thanks for watching. Bye bye.